Located on a plateau in northern Laos is a vast area scattered with thousands of mysterious stone jars. Carved mostly from sandstone and found in groups ranging from just 1 to 400, some of these jars stand close to 10 feet tall and weigh several tons. No one knows for sure their precise age, who built them, why they were built, and how they were moved. Legend holds that a race of giants who inhabited the area used them as wine glasses. Another tradition holds that the jars were built to gather rainwater to supply locals and travelers with fresh water. Many archaeologists, on the other hand, believe they served as funerary urns based on evidence found around the jars, though much remains unknown. Recent research dates the jars' construction to have been during the Iron Age, but little is known about the prehistoric people who called Laos home at that time. Some archaeologists believe that the sites are actually much older, dating back as far as the 2nd millennium BC, which would make them far older than the human remains buried nearby. Portuguese navigator Pedro Álvares Cabral is known for being the first European to discover Brazil in the year 1500. However, a discovery made in 1982 appears to paint a completely different story. Acting on a tip from the locals, archaeologist Robert Marx claimed to have discovered a number of twin-handled Roman vases known as amphoras in Brazil's Guanabara Bay. According to Marx, the ruins provided proof that the Romans were the first Europeans in Brazil, having predated the Portuguese by over 1,000 years. However, he was never able to fully explore the site as the Brazilian government banned him from the country for alleged looting and stopped underwater exploration altogether in 1985. Marx responded by accusing Brazil's navy of dumping sediments on the amphoras so as not to have to rewrite history. To this day, there is a lot of mystery surrounding who arrived first in Brazil, the Romans or the Portuguese. Often referred to as the first computer of the world, the Antikythera mechanism is an ancient Greek artifact that was found in a shipwreck near the island of Antikythera in 1901. Built around 2000 years ago, it was used to track celestial time of the sun, the moon, and 5 planets, along with a calendar, the phase of the moon, and the timing of eclipses in advance. It was more complex than any other tool that would be invented for the next 1000 years, which sparked theories that it must have come from aliens. While most researchers don't stand behind that theory, they still aren't sure how the Greeks managed to create a tool so much more advanced than anything we've seen from that era. Born in 69 BC, Cleopatra VII was the last queen of Egypt, who is renowned for her political acumen and her relationships with 2 of Rome's most powerful leaders, Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. She later committed suicide in 30 BC following Antony's and her defeat at the Battle of Actium. The couple were then allegedly buried together in a tomb, but to this day the location of this tomb remains a complete mystery. Some researchers believe it's located in ancient Alexandria, a large portion of which now lies under the Mediterranean Sea. Others suspect elsewhere in the Nile Delta, possibly in a temple dedicated to Isis and Osiris, the gods with which Cleopatra and Antony respectively associated themselves. Spread out over 200 square miles of the Peruvian desert, the massive Nazca lines were made by the pre-Inca civilization roughly 2000 years ago. The series of enormous drawings called geoglyphs remained largely unknown until aircrafts began flying over the area in the 1920s. To date, well over 1,000 designs have been located, which have survived for many centuries due to the dry climate of the region. Most are straight lines stretching up to 30 miles or geometric shapes from trapezoids to spirals, while others depict animals and plants and a humanoid figure nicknamed the astronaut. Archaeologists have theorized that the Nazcas created the geoglyphs as a way to pray to their gods for water and fertility in a forbidding climate. However, to this day, no one has been able to fully explain the true meaning and purpose of the figures. The Yonaguni Monument is an enormous underwater rock formation off the coast of Japan's Yonaguni Island. Discovered in 1980s, the rock structure is at least 165 feet long and 65 feet wide and resembles a man-made step pyramid. Believed by some researchers to be the ruins of an ancient civilization dating back as far as 10,000 years, it has even been referred to as the Japanese Atlantis. Many other researchers, however, argue that it is nothing more than an unusual natural formation shaped by tectonic activity and ocean currents. Both sides of the argument for the monument's origins are yet to be proven right, leaving it as one of the biggest ancient mysteries. The dodecahedrons are mysterious objects that got their name from their 12 sides, but the shape is about all that experts can agree on. Made of copper alloy with a hollow center, they were made between the 2nd to 4th centuries AD and were first discovered in 1739. Since then, researchers have been unable to understand what they were actually used for. Some believe the 12 sides had to do with zodiac signs, while other theories suggest that the objects were weapons, toys, surveying instruments, or religious symbols. Located on a steep hill in Peru, just outside the city of Cuzco, Sacsayhuaman is an ancient fortress constructed by the Incas in the 15th century. The site is famous for its remarkable large dry stone walls with boulders carefully cut to fit together tightly without mortar. The stones used in the construction of the terraces weigh up to 200 tons and are among the largest used in any building in pre-Hispanic America. Also using only bronze and stone tools, the workers somehow managed to fit the stones so closely that a single piece of paper will not fit between many of the stones. This precision, combined with the rounded corners of the blocks, the variety of their interlocking shapes, and how the massive rocks were moved into place have puzzled scientists for decades. Heraklion, also known as Thonis, was an ancient Egyptian port city on the Mediterranean Sea, which served as a major trading hub prior to the founding of nearby Alexandria in 331 BC. Around the 2nd century BC, however, the city's center suddenly collapsed due to soil liquefaction, possibly triggered by earthquakes, tsunamis, and floods. Eventually, all of Heraklion sank underwater, where it remained lost to time for 1200 years until being rediscovered in the early 2000s. Since then, many artifacts including statues, animal sarcophagi, temple ruins, ships, pottery, jewelry, coins, etc. have been pulled from the site, thus shining new light on this real-life Atlantis. One of the most famous prehistoric monuments in the world, Stonehenge was built in several stages over centuries. The oldest part of the monument was built about 5,000 years ago, before England even entered the Bronze Age. While most researchers agree it functioned as a burial site from its earliest beginnings, other proposed functions for the site include uses as an astronomical observatory or as a religious site. However, many aspects of it, such as how it was built and for what exact purposes it was used, remain a subject to debate.